The distress beacon cut through the silence of the frontier medical station like a blade. Mariah Chen pressed her fingers against the holographic display, her dark eyes scanning the coordinates that had just appeared. The signal originated from Draken Prime's southern wasteland, a place no rational being ventured willingly. Another false alarm. Maxwell Rodriguez looked up from his medical inventory, his weathered face skeptical. As the station's senior field medic, he'd seen too many wild goose chases in his 15 years serving the Galactic Medical Corps. Biosigns are faint but multiple, Mariah replied, already pulling on her field jacket. Whatever's out there is dying, Maxwell sighed, but he was already reaching for his emergency kit. That was the thing about Mariah, her stubborn refusal to ignore a call for help had gotten them into trouble before, but it had also saved countless lives. He couldn't let her go alone. The shuttle ride took 40 minutes through Draken Prime's violent atmospheric storms. The planet was home to the Draconi, a proud reptilian species that valued strength above all else. They had joined the Galactic Council 3 centuries ago, but maintained their ancient traditions with fierce dedication. When they landed, the scanner led them to a rocky outcrop half buried in volcanic ash. What they found made Maxwell's breath catch in his throat. 7 dragon hatchlings lay scattered across the ground, their scales dull and bodies trembling. They were small, barely larger than Earth dogs, but their anatomy was unmistakably crystalline. Wings hung limp and their chest movements were shallow, labored. By the stars, Mariah whispered, dropping to her knees beside the nearest hatchling. Its golden eyes flickered open briefly before closing again. They've been abandoned. The weakness trials, Maxwell said grimly, recognition dawning. I've read about them. Draconi culture demands that only the strongest hatchlings survive. The weak ones are left to die. Mariah's jaw tightened. Well, not today. She pulled out her medical scanner, running it over the first hatchling. Severe dehydration, malnutrition, and hypothermia despite the planet's heat. They'd been here for days. Maxwell watched as something shifted in his partner's expression, that familiar determination settling over her features like armor. These readings are compatible with our equipment, Mariah said, her voice steady and professional now. Their biochemistry is similar enough to the saurian species we treated on Kepler 4 for to be. We can save them. Mariah, Maxwell cautioned. The Draconi won't thank us. This is their tradition. Their tradition is killing children. She cut him off, already preparing an IV drip. I didn't take an oath to respect traditions. I took an oath to preserve life. Maxwell looked at the dying hatchlings, then at Mariah's fierce expression, and made his choice. He'd followed her into worse situations. What do you need? They worked through the night. Mariah improvised a hydration solution using their supplies, adjusting the mineral content to match Draconi physiology. Maxwell rigged a thermal shelter using their emergency equipment, creating a microclimate that could sustain the hatchlings' delicate systems. The smallest one nearly died twice. Its heart stopped, and Mariah performed compressions with her bare hands, refusing to give up even when Maxwell thought it was over. On the third attempt, the tiny chest shuddered, and breathing resumed. Stubborn human, Maxwell muttered, but there was pride in his voice. By dawn, all 7 hatchlings were stable. Mariah sat against the rocky outcrop, exhausted, while Maxwell administered the last of their nutrient supplements. The hatchlings had begun to stir, their scales regaining some luster, their movements less pained. That's when the Draconi arrived. 3 adult warriors descended from the sky, their massive wings creating whirlwinds of ash. The leader, a scarlet-scaled female with battle scars crossing her snout, landed with earth-shaking force. Her amber eyes locked onto the humans with undisguised hostility. You dare interfere with sacred tradition? Her voice rumbled like an avalanche. These weak bloods were judged and found wanting. Mariah stood slowly, placing herself between the Draconi and the hatchlings. Maxwell moved to her side, hand on his medical scanner as if it were a weapon. They're children, Mariah said simply. We're medics. We don't watch children die. Human arrogance. Another warrior snarled. You understand nothing of our ways. Weakness spreads like disease. Only the strong may carry our bloodlines forward. Weakness. Maxwell spoke up, surprising himself. Your people fly through space. You've mastered technology that defies gravity itself. And you're telling me you can't care for your own young. The Scarlet Warrior's tail lashed, cracking like a whip. You insult us, I'm stating facts. Maxwell continued, his voice gaining strength. Humans were weak once. Small, slow, no claws, no wings, no natural armor. We should have died out on our homeworld, but we didn't know why. The Draconi warriors exchanged glances, uncertain. Because we were too stubborn to quit, Mariah finished. We carried our weak We healed our sick. We protected those who couldn't protect themselves. That's not weakness, that's what made us strong enough to reach the stars. A soft chirping sound broke the tension. The smallest hatchling, the one Mariah had resuscitated, had crawled forward. It pressed against her leg, its crystalline wings fluttering weakly but persistently. The Scarlet Warrior stared at the scene, something shifting in her ancient eyes. Minutes passed in heavy silence. Finally, she spoke, her voice quieter than before. What you have done violates our oldest laws, but ... She paused, watching the hatchling nuzzle against the human medic. Perhaps there is strength in what you call mercy. A strength we had forgotten. She stepped forward, lowering her massive head to examine the hatchlings. They live because of human stubbornness. Perhaps they deserve their chance. Over the following weeks, Mariah and Maxwell trained Draconi volunteers and techniques to care for vulnerable hatchlings. The weakness trials weren't abandoned tradition ran too deep, but now there was an alternative. A choice. The smallest hatchling, whom Mariah had privately named Hope, grew stronger each day. The Scarlet Warrior, who revealed her name as Shethara, visited often, watching the humans work with an expression that might have been respect. Your species is strange, Shethara told Mariah during one visit. Weak in body but fierce in spirit, you fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. Mariah smiled, watching Maxwell teach a young Draconi medic how to monitor vital signs. That's what makes us human. We decided long ago that everyone deserves a chance. Even us. Shethra's eyes reflected something ancient and new all at once. Then perhaps, she said slowly, that is what makes humans truly strong.